Hello, Professor Stephen Shihai's The Culture of Arab Food class is here today at the Arabic House with Chef Katsuya Fukushima. Chef Fukushima is the co-owner of Daikaya restaurant in Washington, D.C. Chef Fukushima was trained at the world-renowned El Bulli under Ferran Adria and established his reputation as a pioneer chef specializing in molecular gastronomy as chef de cuisine at Jose Andres' groundbreaking minibar. To top it off, Chef Fukushima has won Iron Chef not once but 2 times. Chef Fukushima, welcome to the College of William and Mary. How did you get into molecular gastronomy? What drew you to molecular gastronomy in particular?
I guess it was, I didn't get into it because I wanted to. It just kind of was a natural progression of my cooking. I was very into the science of cooking. There's a great book called um, Science of Cooking by Harold McGee. And so I was always into the science, and then so it was just kind of like this natural progression that cooking and understanding the fundamentals of what was actually happening with the food, physically, chemically, and so that's how I got into. I hate the word molecular gastronomy. I'm not a scientist. I'm a cook. So I think cooks that say I do molecular gastronomy is kind of like it's kind of disrespectful to scientists who actually do things that are molecular. I don't even know what the molecule looks like, like a cook. So, any science majors?
No.
Kinda. I got some science going on.
Mine is more like science.
We got science more on the medicine side.
We have this olives that I put through a juicer to extract just the juice and the pulp that's been discarded. This is, this is a green olive juice with calcium chloride added to it. Calcium chloride is a salt. This is water with sodium alginate, which is a type of seaweed. This is Virginia water, tap water. And this is just olive oil that I marinate overnight with some orange peels, garlic, and lots of thyme. So what happens is when you introduce the calcium to the alginate, they start to bond. Imagine alginate as like alginate is seaweed, so imagine seaweed in the ocean just floating around, long strands of it just floating around. If you take calcium and clip them, the calcium is like little clips, and they clip all this calcium, the seaweed strands together. You get this like, those curtains of beads that people have, like the hippies have, beads. If you clip them all together, eventually you can't go through them, and this is what happens. And so when you drop this in,
That's so funny.
10:47. I have 5:11. Should have 5 plates.
yeah. Then you wait like 45 seconds.
This is basically my lab. So this is, yes.
Rinse off the calcium,
Yes.
and you marinate them in the oil just like the rest of the sauce roll. And then so you got like
Awesome.
this olive, and then you cut it, and look what comes out.
So were there traditions in your family around food that predisposed or influenced you to become a chef or to look at the culinary arts as a life choice?
No. Is that a yes or no question? Growing up in Japanese and my dad's Hawaiian, we ate dinner every day at the same time, and everyone had to be there. I mean, now I see, everyone's busy. You come in, the food's ready, and then you just kind of eat and you go, or you're watching. You make your dinner or your plate. You go and sit down in front of the TV. I mean, this whole family getting together and eating together kind of fizzled away, unfortunately. I knew food was very important to family, and family is very important in life. And so cooking was this natural thing where it just made total sense. When I saw what food could do, I just fell in love with the power of it.
So before you saw what food could do, as you say, you studied math and art. So how do those degrees that you have in those subjects affect your cooking and your creative process?
The math obviously helps. There's a lot of math involved in not only in the kitchen but in the business part of the restaurant. There's a lot of chefs, which is very sad, that you give them a recipe and it's a recipe for 5 gallons of sauce, for example, and like, okay, can you convert this and do it for 10 people? And they're like lost. They're like, come on, it's just basic math, it's ratios. And so for me, the math part really helped, and it's something we use every day. And the art, I always thought the art, you could teach people to be technically artistic, but being creative is something you can't. Being creative is something that's just, I think, you're born with. But the art, I mean, I was taught how to draw and how to do art, and I think I was naturally gifted, so it was kind of easy for me. But we use art every day in how the plate looks. Appearance on the plate is very important, and it's the first thing that the customer sees.
How did you come to work with so many great chefs like Jose Andres and Farron AJ?
I think I was very lucky. Not everyone has a mentor that they stay with for a long time. I mean, if you go back to, like, Leonardo da Vinci and all those, those days where you actually find a mentor and they teach you, and there's schools of art and science. I was very lucky because I found Jose, and I was with him for 12, 14 years, and that's very uncommon these days. A lot of chefs, I don't want to call them chefs, a lot of cooks like to jump around. They like to go to one job, go to another job, and they think that just from these quick little stints and these little experiences that they could grow to become a very good cook. And I am the total opposite. I think having a mentor, someone that could nurture you and teach you and guide you, is so much more important. So I was very lucky, and to find Jose and Jose's mentor, which is Ferran, to be sent to Spain to work for my mentor's mentor, becoming his student, was just amazing. And like I said, I was very lucky.
We just mentioned some of the very prestigious figures and mentors that you've worked with. So what is the best advice that you've received from them?
I mean, I learned so much from them, but I guess the most important, and one I still use every day, is to think outside the box. Nothing develops and nothing grows if you're just kind of always maintaining. You have to see things the way, you question things all the time. I like, especially in cooking, I'm like, why do we do things this way? Just because my mom told or my chef told me to? It's just, it has to grow, and if you don't think outside the box, then it doesn't grow. And I think that's one of the biggest things I learned from them.
What was the catalyst in the shift from molecular gastronomy to an artisanal dish like ramen?
That also was kind of like a natural path for me. Doing the whole molecular it was just kind of, it got to me after a certain time, and just doing it every day, living it, you know, telling people how to eat, being so exact. I mean, we use digital scales that jewelers use to measure product. I mean, to the 100th degree. I mean, we're like, it was just too much. It was just, I'm not a scientist. The romance of cooking was kind of lost, and that's why I went the other way. And luckily, I found Japanese cooking. I mean, I grew up with it, so I always loved it. But cooking it, it was another. I mean, I fell in love with the way things are very natural, the way things are very pure, and you cook from the soul and from your heart, and so it was just a natural path for me. And I mean, compare my food 10 years ago to now is totally different. But I see pieces of me from before integrated into my cooking today. But it's just, you know, you see it in a lot of artwork, you know, from Picasso with his purple days and his crazy, you know, it's a natural progression. And you know, who knows what 10 years from now what my cooking's gonna be. But from now, it's just from molecular to here, it's just a good place for me.
Specifically with the ramen that we were talking about, in our class we have learned about terroir, how the land and the locale give the food of a certain region a distinct taste. How does that affect the way you approach creating a dish? For example, are noodles made in America the same as those made in Japan?
No. Obviously. For the same reason that bread, you know, baguettes in France don't taste the same here, or a New York pizza doesn't taste, you know, it tastes different from you know, pizza from Washington D.C. It's just the wheat or the flours, the water, huge component in taste. And same with the ramen. The ramen, I would never try to make the ramen here because it's just not the same. The natural alkaline in the water is not the same or even close to, you know, like adding baking soda to water. It's just not. And you know, it's just like you're getting bubbled water from a natural spring, and putting you know, your little whatever you put the little gas things and then you know, you're making bubbled water. It's just not the same. And so the same with the noodles. It's just I chose to make the noodles there and have them shipped to us because it's a special thing that happens in Japan, and I want to be able to recreate it here. So, yeah.
How do you go about creating a new dish? What are you inspired by?
It's funny because I think about food all the time. That's the only thing I can think of. It's I'm driving down the street and I see a sign and I think about food. I'm walking in 7-Eleven and I see the little candy and I think about a dish. You know, I'm walking through Target and a plate inspires me. So it just happens. Sometimes a plate inspires me. Sometimes an ingredient inspires me. But it's because my mind is just open to food all the time. You know, if I could focus this on, you know, maybe doing something great, like that I could probably win a Nobel Peace Prize if I just focus all that on something else. But you know, what I'm passionate about is cooking. So it's just I can't think of anything else. I just think about, and I read food, and I eat food, and I watch. And the only thing I watch, if I had a TV channel that just had Food Network or Cooking Channel, I'd be happy. That's all I need. And so everything inspires me. It's just being aware and letting things come to you and being open.
Well, you spoke of writing all over your mirror and like in notebooks. So what are your plans for the future, both in dishes and in, restaurant possibility?
What I love about being a chef is being able to feed people and make them very happy. It makes me happy watching people eat my food, and so the more restaurants I could open, the more people I could feed. You know, obviously I don't do it for the money because people think chefs and restaurateurs make big money, but they don't. I just do it because I love to cook and touch people, and so I do. We were talking about opening possibly 2 more restaurants in the Washington area. We'll see after that. But right now, what I do have is the Daikai, which is the izakaya and a ramen shop, and the next plan is to do something like the mini bar, which I opened with Jose at Cafe Atlantico, which is a 6-seat, very intimate dining experience where 2 chefs cook everything and they actually serve you. And then it was 32 courses. I'm not planning to do 32 courses, but I want to do something like 15, maybe 20, and do very beautiful food from the soul. And that's my next plan. I'm hoping to do that around December, and just do like 7. I think it's 7 people, just because 7 to me is like a lucky number, and there's 7 people at the counter and just cooking for them once a week, and I think that'll not only make me very happy in terms of being a cook and cooking things that are a little more detailed and special, but for my cooks to allow them opportunity to, El Bulli is closed, but there's a lot of students of El Bulli in the world right now, and so I would like my cooks to be able to do something that was just as special like El Bulli, and if I could provide that kind of arena for them, then it'll just make me very happy. And then to feed people and give them opportunity to eat this very special dinner would be that's my next plan, and I'm very excited about it. I mean, it's very touching to me, and so after that, the restaurants. But right now, the focus is on this little mini bar thing. Obviously, we'll come up with a different name, but yeah, that's my next plan.
Thank you for joining us today and for dazzling us with your cooking demonstration.